Saudi Arabia is one of the most influential states of the modern Middle East. It controls some of the world's largest proven oil reserves, holds immense religious authority, and plays a central role in global geopolitics. Yet its rise is remarkably recent. Just over 100 years ago, Saudi Arabia did not exist as a unified country. The land was fragmented, poor, and largely ignored by global powers. Its transformation from a tribal desert society into a global energy powerhouse is one of the most dramatic shifts in modern history. How did a family from the Arabian Peninsula create a modern state almost from nothing? And how did faith, oil, and power combine to shape the Saudi Arabia we know today? This is the entire history of Saudi Arabia. Chapter 1: Arabia before the Saudi state. For thousands of years, the Arabian Peninsula was shaped by geography. Vast deserts, limited water sources, and extreme heat made large, centralized states difficult to sustain. Power rested not in cities or institutions, but in tribes bound by kinship, loyalty, and survival. Despite this harsh environment, Arabia was never completely isolated. Caravan routes crossed the peninsula for centuries, transporting incense, spices, and textiles between the Mediterranean, Persia, India, and East Africa. Control over these routes brought temporary wealth and influence, but it was fragile and dependent on seasonal conditions and tribal cooperation. Cities like Mecca and Medina gained importance not because of political power, but because of commerce and religion. With the rise of Islam in the 600s, Arabia became the spiritual center of the Muslim world. Pilgrimage created a steady flow of people, goods, and ideas, turning religious legitimacy into one of the few authorities capable of transcending tribal divisions. Politically, however, Arabia remained fragmented. After the early Islamic caliphates, power shifted outward to Damascus, Baghdad, and later Istanbul. The Arabian Peninsula became a peripheral region within larger empires. The Ottoman Empire asserted control over the holy cities, but its authority beyond them was limited. By the 1700s, Central Arabia was deeply divided. Tribal conflict was common, resources were scarce, and the region held little strategic value for European powers. This isolation preserved traditional structures, but it also left Arabia economically weak and politically fragmented. The conditions were set for a movement that would reshape the peninsula from within. Chapter 2: Faith, Alliance, and the Rise of the Saudis. The turning point came in the 1700s with a religious revival. Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab preached a strict interpretation of Islam, calling for a return to what he viewed as its original purity. His teachings challenged existing religious practices and threatened established authorities. In 1744, Abd al-Wahhab formed a decisive alliance with a local tribal leader, Muhammad ibn Saud. This partnership fused religious ideology with military power. The Saud family provided protection and expansion, while Wahhabism offered legitimacy, unity, and a shared moral framework. Together, they began conquering neighboring territories. Tribes were united under religious loyalty rather than blood ties alone. The movement spread rapidly across Central Arabia, creating the first Saudi state. This expansion alarmed the Ottoman Empire, which saw the movement as a direct challenge to its authority over Islam's holy sites. Ottoman forces eventually crushed the Saudi state in the early 1800s. Leaders were executed and territory was reclaimed. Yet the alliance between faith and family endured. The Saudi state was rebuilt, collapsed again, and rebuilt once more. These cycles of destruction and revival forged resilience. They also established a political model that would define Saudi Arabia: centralized authority, religious legitimacy, and tribal loyalty bound together. By the early 1900s, the Saudi movement had survived defeat, exile, and near extinction. But the struggle to unify Arabia was far from over, and the discovery that followed would transform not only Saudi Arabia, but the global balance of power itself. Chapter 3: Unification and the Discovery of Oil. The modern Saudi state emerged under Abdulaziz ibn Saud, often known as Ibn Saud. In 1902, he launched a daring campaign to reclaim his family's ancestral lands, beginning with the capture of Riyadh. Through warfare, diplomacy, and religious appeal, he gradually expanded his control. By the 1920s, Ibn Saud defeated rival tribes and secured control over Mecca and Medina. In 1932, he proclaimed the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The new state was vast but poor. Its economy depended on pilgrimage, limited agriculture, and tribal taxation. Everything changed with the discovery of oil in 1938. American companies confirmed massive reserves beneath Saudi soil. Although production was initially slow, the long-term implications were enormous. Saudi Arabia possessed a resource that would soon power global industry. Oil transformed the relationship between the state and its population. For the first time, the government could provide services, subsidies, and stability without relying heavily on taxation. This created a social contract based on distribution rather than representation. Oil also reshaped Saudi Arabia's strategic importance. What had once been a remote desert kingdom became central to global economic growth. Decisions made in Riyadh now affected fuel prices, industrial output, and political relationships worldwide. During World War II and the decades that followed, oil revenues fueled rapid modernization. Roads, cities, education systems, and state institutions emerged where little had existed before. Saudi Arabia strengthened its alliance with the United States, trading energy security for military and political support. Yet modernization created tension. Rapid wealth clashed with conservative religious values. The ruling family balanced reform with tradition, ensuring stability through control, negotiation, and religious legitimacy. Chapter 4: Power, Crisis, and the Modern Kingdom. By the late 1900s, Saudi Arabia had become a cornerstone of the global energy system. Its influence extended through oil markets, diplomacy, and religion. As custodian of Islam's two holiest cities, Mecca and Medina, the kingdom held unparalleled religious authority within the Muslim world. The 1970s oil crisis demonstrated Saudi Arabia's global leverage, while also tying its stability to international politics. Regional conflicts exposed the kingdom to new security risks, and rapid population growth placed increasing demands on the state. The presence of foreign troops during the Gulf War deeply unsettled parts of Saudi society. In the following years, the country faced terrorism, internal dissent, and growing global scrutiny. The state responded with tighter security, gradual reform, and reinforced central authority. In the 2000s and beyond, Saudi Arabia began pursuing ambitious plans to reshape its future. Economic diversification, large-scale infrastructure projects, and social reforms signaled a shift toward a post-oil era. A young population, global connectivity, and rising expectations created new pressures and opportunities. Today, Saudi Arabia stands at a crossroads. It is wealthy, influential, and strategically vital. Yet it must balance tradition with transformation, stability with reform, and power with responsibility. Saudi Arabia's history is short as a state, but deep in its foundations. It is a story of belief, survival, and adaptation in one of the world's most demanding environments. Saudi Arabia's rise shows how faith, family, and resources can reshape global history in a single century. It is a reminder that power does not always emerge from wealth or empire, but sometimes from unity, timing, and belief. If you enjoyed this journey through history, give this video a like and subscribe for more. And to explore another empire shaped by faith and power, click here to watch the history of the Ottoman Empire.